Hello, my name is Keith Lohse, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow in the Motor Skills Lab of UBC's School of Kinesiology. This video outlines the key findings of our review paper, Video Games and Rehabilitation, using design principles to enhance patient engagement. Based on neurophysiological models of rehabilitation, we know that a very high volume of repetitive practice is necessary to induce the neuroplastic adaptations that underlie behavioral improvements. From observational data, we also know that patients with stroke are often unable to receive a sufficient dosage of therapy through scheduled therapy sessions alone. This lack of sufficient volume in practice is one reason we're exploring using motion-controlled video games to augment therapy. Game-based therapies, or gaming supplements to therapy, allow patients to practice rehabilitation-relevant movements in a motivating environment, increasing engagement with therapy. In the first half of our paper, we evaluate effects of video game interventions on basic cognitive skills, physiological adaptations, and functional measures in clinical studies. In the second half of our paper, we explore games' potential to increase patient engagement with therapy through a multidisciplinary review to find game design principles that have empirical support from motor learning and affective neuroscience. In the first part of our paper, reviewing research on video game training, the data show that video games are beneficial for cognitive and motor skill learning in both rehabilitation science and experimental studies with healthy subjects. Physiological data suggests that gameplay can induce neuroplastic reorganization that leads to long-term retention and transfer. And a limited number of studies in rehabilitation also show positive outcomes for gaming interventions compared to control conditions. However, more clinical research in this area is needed. So that's the first part of our paper, showing that these gaming interventions can create desirable results. But how do games affect motivation? And do gaming interventions foster more time in therapy? We do not have the data to address these questions directly, so in the second half of our paper, we conducted a literature search to find game mechanics that are empirically supported to increase engagement and motivation. We searched the human-computer interaction literature and looked for areas of overlap with experimental psychology and motivational neuroscience to find principles of game design that had experimental support for increasing motivation. From this interdisciplinary review, there is evidence suggesting that key factors of reward, challenge, feedback, interactivity, clear goals, and socialization lead to increased motivation and engagement in games. We review these mechanics and present a framework for motivation and engagement that we hope will be useful as research in games and therapy moves forward, and also potentially useful for therapists in choosing games that are most appropriate for their patients. In the long term, we hope this research will lead to video games being a useful therapeutic tool that will allow patients to supplement their time in therapy with meaningful play in games. Thank you very much for your time, and we really hope that you enjoy the paper.